And welcome along, guys, to another episode of 420 News. And it's another episode brought to you by Martin's World. What's happening, guys? Was struggling there just to make it for the 420. Only realised that I hadn't had on my tie and my jacket and all that stuff. So we were making sure we get sharp there again today for y'all. So what's happening out there, guys? Welcome, everybody. Get your shout outs there into the hot box, guys, and I will get reading them out in a couple of seconds. But before we do that, we're going to engage in a little bit of civil disobedience. Yes. Oh, civil disobedience smells great, especially on a Friday evening. Oh, where is me bowl? There we go. Hey, Al, nice one. Al, yeah, absolute legend. Al giving an old share to the stream there. Guys, everybody out there, make sure you hit that like button, stream button, and our share button. Share the stream. Maybe I shouldn't be packing up a bowl. Probably had one too many already. Boom. Yes, this volcano bowl takes a fair old bit, like, packing it in. Should really weigh it, actually. I've never actually weighed it. Anybody out there know how much is weighed in one of these? Maybe you should give a prize if somebody can guess the correct weight. I should weigh it. Do I have scales around there? I probably have scales somewhere not too far away. Do you know what? That's what we might do. Fridays, shall we do a little prize? Shall I give away a lovely sticker, and we might give away a little a hand-rolled gift as well along with that sticker. What do people think about that, okay? So what do people think is inside in this? So this is like a leveled chamber, like it's not packed in, I'm not forcing it, but it's a leveled chamber of a volcano bowl. What do people think out there? Do they think, like, is there 0.2 of a gram, 0.3, 0.4? That's kind of where I would be putting it, my guess anyway, somewhere in that region. I definitely think it's above 0.2, and I would definitely say it's below 0.6. But yeah, so volcano chamber, nicely done. Daglon, what's happening? Absolute legend, getting in a super chat there, Daglon, and yes, absolute legend, much appreciated there. I'll pop that one up on screen again. Nice one, much appreciated. Tom Tyler as well. I see Tom getting a like in out there as well. Getting all these notifications in here, actually. Carrickfergus Cannabis Club. I'd imagine that's our buddy Al. Shout out to Al. What's happening, Al? Padraig, Craig, Keith, Thomas Sartor. What's going on, guys? Everybody out there. Absolute legends. I see Daily Talker in the audience as well. Canaman83, what's happening, guys? Daily Talker says Stony Martin looking sharp, could get used to this. Yeah, I I done it once before, I kind of came on here, I was like, oh yeah, I'll start wearing the suit there now, and it's not that comfy, like, it's like, alright, I'll do it for the crack, but to be honest, like, it's very restrictive, like, you know what I mean? I feel like I'm going to be like fucking the Hulk and I'm going to rip out of this any second. Scatnist out there as well, what's happening? AKA Bog Tech. Aka Bog Tech, maybe? Says, happy 420, doobie time has come. Yes, indeed it has. For myself this evening, I am packing up the volcano. Oh, so we'll get a bag blown up there now. Yes. B Mooney out in the audience as well. Got some glasses clinking, but I'd imagine that if they had the emoji there for two joints clinking, I'd imagine that would be probably two old joints there clinking. Yes, that's a nice big bag getting filled up there at the side. And Daglon had a hippo character with stars growing in his eyes, pumping his arm in the air with the words hype pulsating above him. So that would have been the emoji that should have popped up there. Did that pop up for you over on YouTube? I don't think the hippo popped up over on YouTube. I'm not too sure how to get those emojis actually integrated with the Streamlabs streaming platform. Do you know, I wanted to show the emojis. Instead, I had to give it a description. Oh yes, that bag is almost full there now. It's a bag that just keeps on going. Yes, that's how we do it. So, happy 420 out there, guys. Even though it is now 4:26, a little bit after, but what harm? Casa de Strogas, you're on to me, boy, huh? You're on to me. Doing the auditions for the Lex Friedman podcast. Don't think he'd ever have me, even though, like, you know, I could look the part, but I don't know if I'd ever be up there on the level of Lex Friedman. Daily Talker says 2 grams of hash to the closest guess for the weight. All right, we've guesses coming in there. Podge says 0.7. Scatness wants another look at the bowl. This is the bowl here. So I'm going to open her up. And then that's the inside of it. So like there's the inside of it. It's about the size, just a little bit bigger than a €2 coin. And the depth, I would imagine you would get about, how would you say, 2, maybe 3 €2 coins in there at a stretch. So there you go. That's the dimensions. €2 coins in width and 3 deep. John Finnegan says 0.31. Well, my scales only goes up in 0.1s. Teresa says 0.5. Green Tea's out in the audience as well. What's happening, Green Tea? Welcome to the show. And Daily Talker getting in an old super chat there as well. It says closest guess to the weight gets 2 grams of lovely hash. Absolute legend, Daily Talker. I still have some of the hash there that was posted down the last day, Daily Talker, and yeah, I won't confirm nor deny whether that hash is going to end up in the hand-rolled gift that the winner is going to get. Amy Riley out in the audience. What's happening, Amy? So guys, if you're only joining in the show right now, well, there's a little competition going on. Get your guess in as to how much cannabis can be contained inside in the bowl of a volcano chamber. So closest guess, you know, is like, it's either in 1 decimal place. Yeah, that's the correct term. 1 decimal place. So correct to the 1 decimal place. So I would imagine 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6. You know, that's probably the range. 0.7 has been guessed though. Somebody thinks 0.7 and maybe they know better. Maybe somebody's already weighed it and they know. I'm going to do it here in a minute. I'll pack up a full bowl there now in a minute after I finish off cleaning that one out. And we'll pick out a winner then from the guesses. I should really get a pen and paper and write down your guesses. Barry Fields out in the audience. What's happening, Barry? Sean M out there as well. What's going on? That's some big bag, Martin. Yes, it is indeed. And we're going to drink it all. Casa de Stroga says, who'd win in an arm wrestling competition? Oh, I don't know. I'd say that guy works out. I've gotten a bit soft and pudgy there lately. Hunter says, I don't know what we're guessing, but 2.4 grams. Barry says 1.7. Good guesses, guys. Good guesses. 3 grams, says Daglon. Daily Talker says, Martin, do not fear. More hashes here. Yes. Hey, Barry Fields with a good guess there with 0.420. Nice. Good stuff, guys. And Daglon says 0.35. The only problem is my scales actually just does 0.3. It won't show 0.35 or it'll show zero point 0.4. It won't show 0.45, you know. So it's either zero point 0.3 or zero point 0.4 there, they're gone. I'll round it up for you at the zero point 0.4 if you'd like. I'm definitely thinking it's about zero point 0.4. Like, that's my guess anyway. Change your guess if you feel like, guys. Get as many guesses as you want in there as well if you like. Man Falls says awful dapper, Martin. Nice one, Man Falls. We said we'd change it up just a little bit as the suit's just been hanging up there, getting no action at all. I said, feck it, why not make it the show suit? So here we are. Right. Oh, there we go. That much better. Scatna says, depend on the weed as well, I guess, whether it's dense, fluffy, or dried up. Well, I would say that this is fluffy. It's dry, but fluffy. But it's not very fluffy, like. But if I was to look at it, it kind of looks fluffy. Like, now that you said it, like, you put the word into my head, and it looks like it fits the description. Fluffy. Bean Mooney says 0.9. Guys, that's big guesses. That's big. I don't know will it be getting to that high. Like, I really don't. I was thinking 0.7 was going to be the upper limit there. But again, who knows? Man Falls says 1 gram. Guys, again, just to remind people, if you don't know what we're guessing, I just said I'd do a quick little competition for the crack. We're going to give away a sticker and a little hand-rolled gift that might or might not. I can't confirm or deny whether there's going to be hashish inside in that either. But basically what we're guessing is how much cannabis can go into the chamber of the volcano bowl. I'll get one up on screen there for you now, just so you can kind of see it. Volcano chamber. I said bowl, but it didn't come up. There we go. So this will be up on screen there now for you guys. 1 second. Boom. So you see that one there, the black one to the right, and the bigger picture. That's the guy I'm talking about. Ah, crap. So this is the guy I'm talking about there. So how much do you think goes into that? So here we go. We got some other pictures. Get them up there. So like that's kind of a nice side picture there for it. Like, so the top half comes off and then you fill the bottom half. You know? See the bottom half there? And the bottom half, I'd say, is about the width of a €2 coin, and I reckon like you might fit. You fit 2 in there, but I don't know. You might fit a third. But there you go. That's the chamber there. It doesn't say it on the website actually how much is in there, but I'm gonna wait in a minute myself anyway and find out. So get your guesses in, guys. Get your guesses in. Happen to have a pen and paper here handy, you know. So we got a few names down. Scatnist 0.3. There we go. Yes. Hey Liam, what's happening? Podge is out there in the audience as well. What's happening, Podge? Hope you're doing good. Says I can't wait to buy one in time. A volcano. Yeah, Podge, great money spent. Honestly, it's an incredible contraption. Liam asking what's the story with the suit. Well, just saying that it's been hanging up, gathering dust, and I said, why the hell not throw it on there for the show, for the crack. So that's the story with the suit. Basically, there's no story. I just said I'd throw it on for the crack, just to look sharp, just, you know. Cassidus Drughouse getting a 0.666. That's evil, man. That's evil. Daily Talker says that someone Googled the volcano bowl capacity. That's one way of figuring it out, alright, isn't it? So, rightio, let's get cracking down for today's 420 news. Because that's why you're all here. I'd imagine you're not here just to look at me in my dapper old suit, like, no? Well, the first news article coming out of today's 420 news is going to be revisiting a news article that we talked about there on Wednesday, which was the sad passing of Damiola Olanknemi, the 23-year-old business law student who sadly passed away after eating a cannabis gummy. Well, the guys from The Loop were recently questioned about this, or they recently put out kind of their own comments, their own views on this, and there was quotes there in a recent article from Guy Jones. And Guy Jones is one of the many great workers over at The Loop. And if you don't know what The Loop is a drug testing charity in the UK who tests drugs in order to prevent deaths like Damiola Olanknemi's, where people unknowingly consume substances which isn't what they intended to be. You know, because when The Loop were working at Boomtown, I believe it was in 2017 and 2018, they were finding contaminants in drug samples, including, cement. They were finding, veterinary drugs and other kind of nasty stuff, but they were actually finding cement. They were finding Daz washing up powder and all sorts of nasty stuff inside in people's drugs, as well as highly potent drugs as well they were finding. But again, the Guy Jones from The Loop, he's not disagreeing with what I said anyway, is that basically the tragic death of this woman was one that is avoidable should we have had regulations in place. The Loop says it's worried about a rise in the popularity of these sweets, and that's because without testing it's impossible to tell what's inside them. And Guy Jones, the senior scientist at The Loop, said people are taking advantage of this. And he says with herbal cannabis you can look at it, you can smell it and decide whether it's real or not. And with these highly processed forms of cannabis gummies, that is completely out the window. Because you know yourselves, guys. I've a bit of cannabis hair. Like, I can smell that. That smells like cannabis. It looks like cannabis. Feels like cannabis. Happy days. I'm pretty sure that's cannabis. It could be sprayed with some herbal synthetics and stuff like that, but it doesn't. I've seen the flour before I grinded it too, and that confirms to me, yeah, that was definitely cannabis. And it feels right as well after I consumed it. So I had no concerns there. But if you were to get a cannabis jelly, unless you were after making it yourself, or unless you were after putting the cannabis into it yourself, how can you assure yourself that it has what you intended to be in there? And that unfortunately is what happened to Damiola. She ordered some gummies. They were delivered to her via WhatsApp. They were delivered to her front door. Herself and her friend ate them. They were both admitted to hospital. Sadly, Damiola passed away 5 days later. Horrible situation, but completely avoidable. So Guy Jones pointing out there, with the herbal form of cannabis, guys, you're much safer to stick with that rather than these processed forms, and that includes the vape forms as well, because there is a rising problem over there, especially in the UK and above in the north of Ireland as well. I've seen it being mentioned, the problem of synthetic cannabinoids being passed off as cannabis products. In the form of these edibles and in the form of the vape cartridges as well. So do be careful, guys, and the best way to protect yourselves is, stick to the herb. Go green. But just don't vote green, though. Don't vote green. Never again. Guy Jones continues with saying that the concern is drug sellers are buying a regular supply of cannabis sweets and their supplier has gone out of stock. And then they find another supplier who says that they've got these really good cannabis sweets and they're really strong, but it turns out that what they're actually just selling is the cheap synthetic cannabinoids, says Guy Jones. And that's a true situation as well. You're going to a guy, you're getting these jellies off him and you're getting your cannabis off of this person and you trust them. But who's that person getting them off of? And what happens when that person's supply runs out and then they change over to the synthetics because that's what's easily available. And then, your guy is buying it off of another guy and selling it to you. And, you're the one at the end, facing that massive risk of from the danger of consumption. So Guy Jones says that everyone downstream faces a huge additional risk. Buyers think they're purchasing cannabis, which is essentially a non-existent risk of overdose, and that's very true. Cannabis does have essentially a non-existent risk of overdose. Like seriously, like I would love to sit down and put it to the test and see how much cannabis can you consume. And honestly, like the LD50 rating indicates that you will die from the act of consumption, and then you will from the compounds actually eliciting an effect in your body. In terms of like the volume of smoke you'd have to take in the space of time you'd have to take it in. You die from asphyxiation before you die from an actual overdose of cannabinoids or anything like that. But Guy says he expects users to be getting synthetic gummy products the same way they get any other cannabis product, and that's through social media, face-to-face or online. He said obtaining drugs doesn't seem to be a problem for the users or for the service. He goes, obtaining drugs doesn't seem to be a problem for the users of our services nor anybody else. I would expect that synthetic products are filtering through the same supply networks. There's also a warning for those determined to buy them and consume them. If you're really intent on taking something that isn't tested and has significant risks associated with it, he says start with a small amount. If you start with one whole dose, you run the risk that whoever made it has been incompetent and has put, say, 3 whole doses in. If that's a synthetic cannabinoid, there's a potential for serious harm. So again, what he's saying here, is that the person making this, what if they were to mess up and you think you're taking 1 dose, but in fact you're actually taking 3 doses. And when that is done, with THC, okay, it's going to have some undesirable side effects. But when that's done with a synthetic cannabinoid, there's some potentially fatal side effects, and fatal and undesirable. I was uncomfortable versus I was dead. Massive fucking difference there. Like, and one is cannabis, one is synthetic cannabinoids. So those are comments coming in there from Guy Jones from The Loop. And actually, I believe I have a video there from Guy Jones from The Loop. 1 second now and I get it up. So check them out over on Twitter if you haven't already done so. I've mentioned them a few times in the past, I believe, but it's no harm mentioning them again because they're an amazing charity and they deserve all the support they can get. I didn't get to see their drug testing lab in action because the year I was at Boomtown when they were there, the services, their license actually got revoked that year, so I didn't get to see it firsthand. But I do know from people who have seen it firsthand that it's an incredible service and an invaluable one as well. So this was a video that was up on the News Movement. So it's about the synthetic cannabinoids. So I'll give this a play there and I'm going to quickly run it and get my weighing scales so I can weigh that bowl in a couple of minutes.
Damilola Olakimi died this week after eating one supposed cannabis jelly. The sweets reportedly came in packaging like this. We don't know exactly what was in the one sweet that Damilola took. They're still being tested, but a man has been arrested in connection with the incident for possessing synthetic cannabis. That's the same stuff that's in spice. I didn't really understand why it was different in natural cannabis, so I called Guy Jones, who's a senior chemist at The Loop, a drug testing charity. He explained that synthetic cannabis is a mix of chemicals, initially made by scientists to research the effects of cannabis. He said that with natural cannabis, there's a limit to how strong the effects can get. But with synthetics, there's no limit, so it can have a much stronger effect. Because they're illegal, cannabis sweets are unregulated, so there's no way of being sure how strong they are. If you are taking them, Guy says to start with a small amount and see how your body reacts.
Boom, just in time. Nice.
He died this week after...
Boom. So nice little gaff filler there for me while I went down and just got this nice little contraption. Boom, we put this back over to the other side where she belongs and close her. Lovely. So again, my condolences to Dami Olakimi and to their family. But again, I can't help but hope that this death is not in vain. That Damiola's life, that it doesn't go without having some, meaningful action happen afterwards, and I think one that is an important one to be done is the regulation of the cannabis market to make sure that no more people die like this. Had she gotten access to cannabis, as I said last Wednesday on the show as well, she'd still be fucking alive here today, and who knows, contributing in what positive ways to society. So yeah, that's Guy Jones from The Loop. And we stick with the UK there for a second as over in the UK, guys, and we stick with Twitter as well, actually, as this news comes by the way of Twitter. And this headline that I wrote up for this is that supply issues of cannabis oil have led to Ben, an 11-year-old cannabis patient in the UK, having an increase in his epileptic seizures. And again, like this is it is a hard fucking news piece to be covering again because there's such a young child involved in this. But this is coming from Boisterous Ben's Twitter page, and I'd imagine it's his mother posting this up, or possibly his father. But recently there was a supply issue with Ben's cannabis oil, and Ben was left to run out of his medication. The MHRA, Home Office, and Department of Health and Social Care DHSC knew about the issue. Ben had nearly 40 seizures that day. And she attaches then with that post a picture here which shows a picture of Ben with what seems to be a black eye, probably from falling over, having a seizure, because I know myself, when you have a seizure, it can be quite violent and you've no control over the jerking of your body, or quite often it can happen unexpectedly as well, and you can fall from a standing position, which has its own problems for the body. But in the first picture you see Ben with the black eye. It says no medical cannabis and hundreds of seizures, many lasting over 20 minutes long. So that's the picture on the left, and on the right then it says 3 years on full extract medical cannabis, 95 to 100% seizure free. Seizure length is under 20 seconds. So think of that, like 20 minutes versus 20 seconds. That is an extraordinary difference. And to go from hundreds of seizures to be 95 to 100% seizure free, so that's talking about going from hundreds of seizures a day down to maybe 5 to 10 seizures, possibly some days even seizure free. And if those seizures were to happen, they only last under 20 seconds as opposed to over 20 minutes. And despite this, this child was still left run out of that medicine. Heads should roll for that, like, it really should. In the second part of the post then, 2 of 2, it says, Ben's cannabis oil was delivered that night, and by the next day, Ben's increased seizures had stopped. It says, Ben clearly had a clinical need for his current full extract cannabis oil, and he is still denied access to his Bedrocan oils that 2 children receive free via the NHS England. Horrible stuff going on here, like. So in the UK, basically, the NHS has prescribed cannabis to 2 children apparently, despite those 2 children actually doing quite well with those prescriptions, no other children or no other patients have been afforded the opportunity to avail of access to cannabis through the NHS. So what's going on here is for Ben to be in the situation where he's 95 to 100% seizure free. He's had to privately fund that. His parents, his family, the friends of the family, even complete strangers out there put their hands into their pocket to ensure that this boy has access to the cannabis oil. Like, why can't the government have the same compassion towards these patients and provide them what it is that they deserve, is an effective medicine to allow them to have a better quality of life? Is that not what medicine is all about? Is that not what healthcare is all about? If that's not what it's all about, then what is it about? Some people would say it's about making money and getting people on drugs and selling pills to people. I would hope that's not the truth. I really hope that those people are wrong, and I hope that there is people out there within these services that will do what needs to be done to get people access to this. It's crazy. Look, this is all as well because of cannabis prohibition. You have a woman 23 years of age dead now, a law student who had her entire future ahead of her, who's dead because of cannabis prohibition. And you also have here a young boy 11 years of age who, because of cannabis prohibition, can't even get access to cannabis in a meaningful and effective way. It's absolutely ridiculous that for one, that they have to privately fund it, but 2, that they actually are left in a situation where they run out. Like, that's appalling. Like, that really is. It's despicable stuff. So that's coming out of the UK there anyway, those news pieces. Sorry that they're so fucking negative and downhearted, and you know, guys, if you want to vent some frustration on anybody, you know, there's like send some messages to this guy. This is Sajid Javid. He's the UK Health Secretary or Minister or whatever his title may be, but he's basically responsible now over there since the last old, I don't know what you call him, a womanizer fella left, who didn't do his job. But now this fella's up there still not doing a job, like, because, you know, where's the access to it? Since the last guy left, I know there's been a couple of debates about there in Parliament, like, why isn't there more being done? Why isn't there more being done to afford these patients access? Why is it that there's these privately funded studies being done where you're using these companies' inhalers and stuff? You know, I got the Oleo device there the last day, and it's great, you know, it's a lovely device and everything, like, but why is it taking so long? And why are the only studies that are being done with these products? Why aren't patients like Ben being brought in and given access to their Bedrocan oils, which are full plant extracts? And that there is where the problem is they're full plant extracts. That's the problem. They're not these little devices, and, you know, they're not patentable, and so it's not enough to be making money. That's my opinion anyway. But I don't know, if you want to vent some frustrations, tweet at this dude, you know, go over there onto at Ben Boisterous, retweet this tweet if you're on Twitter, and tweet her at your man there at the NHS guy, Sajid Javid, and tag the NHS England and the UK and stuff like that there as well in it, because this just can't be left go, you know, it really can't, like, because those 40 seizures that young boy had while he was without his medicine, any one of those could have took his life. Any one of those, like, you know, it's like playing Russian roulette. Every time you have a seizure, it's like you're playing with a loaded gun. All right, maybe there might be a few empty chambers, like, but this doesn't matter how many empty chambers there. There's still a fucking bullet there that could take your head off, like. So that's epilepsy for you. So we drive on from there, and what do we have next lined up? We come back to Ireland, where above in Finglas, guys, the Gardaí above in Finglas, while they're investigating the recent killing of James Whelan, who's been attached to a feud going on above there with the Kinahans and stuff like that as well. Apparently another guy, Mr. Flashy, we talked about him as well in the past there on the show. I believe we were talking about you know, how funny it is that they have all these code names for themselves, you know, Mr. Flashy and all of that kind of stuff that was going on there. So we talked about that quite a while back, but now they're back in the media again as in relation to the killing of James Whelan. But as part of the investigations going on above there, there was a drug raid that was carried out recently, which came up with 70,000 worth of drugs in the form of cannabis and azopiclone tablets. Azopiclone is a type of hypnotic drug. So I don't know, it's a fucking maybe kind of a date rape type of drug. When I read hypnotic, that's kind of what I was thinking. Like, this is kind of like, shit, is that like a roofie? But anyway, cannabis and these tablets were found together as part of an intelligence operation on Monday afternoon above in Finglas. It says nobody was arrested during the operation, and Garda said that the investigations were ongoing. So again, you see here how prohibition puts cannabis and other more dangerous drugs side by side, and therefore if you're a young person out there, and if the person runs out of cannabis and they got some tablets there, and maybe you're a person who was at risk because of, you know, whatever maybe environmental problems you have kind of going on within your life, then maybe you're much more at risk of kind of saying yes to those tablets and actually then getting addicted as a result. So again, we've a prime example here showing how prohibition makes our communities more dangerous for vulnerable people who live within our communities with us. So yes, also an interesting one coming out of Dublin. Was it Dublin? I suppose, yeah. Out of Dublin, there was a meeting going on above there recently, and they were talking about education above there. 1 second now, and I'm going to actually get the news article up because I just have my headline here. One second now, I just have to find that article again. There we go. This is the news piece here. But basically the headline I have for you here is that Trish Murphy of the Irish Council for Psychotherapy and a student counsellor at Trinity College Dublin, she doesn't agree with the College of Psychiatrists in Ireland's that their claim that the greatest threat to the mental health of young people is cannabis. So this is an interesting one. I found this within an article that I was reading there earlier on today when I was kind of just prowling the news, see what's out there for the 420 news. And it was coming out of the Irish Examiner. And it says high expectations can have absolutely devastating effects on third level students. So it was kind of talking here about students and mental health problems, but quite a bit of the article was actually spent talking about cannabis and cannabis use. So it was talking here that it was a committee above there in the Oireachtas. They met on Tuesday, and they were talking about the future of funding for third level education and hearing from psychologists, counsellors, and mental health experts. So Trish Murphy was asked by Fianna Fáil TD Jim O'Callaghan if she agreed with the College of Psychiatrists in Ireland that their claim that the greatest threat to the mental health of young people is cannabis. And Miss Murphy said, "I find it hard to say yes to that." So basically, this woman is at odds with the psychiatrists of Ireland, claim that cannabis is the greatest threat to the young people of Ireland. She says that she thinks... I think what I would see is people put a huge pressure on themselves and perfectionism and the idea that I have to be the best that I can be across a whole range of things. When they come to college and they find that they're not head of a class like they used to be, that can be like they used to be, the effect on them over years can be absolutely devastating. She says last year the College of Psychiatrists in Ireland said that there have been over 300% increase in cannabis-related diagnoses in admissions to hospitals between 2005 and 2017. She says there is a really strong evidence base that people who are experiencing mental health difficulties will self-medicate with substances, and that was a comment by Joseph Morning, the mental health content editor with spunout.ie. He says that to purely address the substance isn't getting to the root of the issue. So they also go on to say that there's a significant shortfall in the number of psychologists being trained at a third level to meet the demand for mental health services, according to Mark Smith, the past president of the Irish Psychologists Society of Ireland, and demand for support significantly increased as a direct result of a pandemic and is likely to continue to do so. Sorry, I'm just going to grab my book, because after reading this article, I kind of was thinking about this. Excuse me. I was like, there's a 300% rise in cannabis-related diagnoses in the admissions hospitals between 2005 and 2017. And I just went back and I was like, all right, what was the number of people who got caught for personal possession of drugs in 2005? And it was 10,000 people got done for the personal possession of drugs in 2005. And then I went down, I said I'd have a look at what the number was for 2017. And it was 16,000 people. So there was quite an increase there in the number of people who got caught for personal possession of drugs. And again, if you were to think about the personal possession of drugs, about 75% of those cases, give or take, would be cannabis-related cases. So if we've got a 300% rise in people being diagnosed, in the hospital and admitted and stuff like that, are we seeing like a lot of people who actually have got mental health problems being caught by the cops, who are, as the Joseph Morning talks about it here, they're self-medicating because of a shortfall of psychologists, to meet the demand that's out there to address mental health problems within our society. Like, how many people are out there that are using cannabis as what what's her name? Lost her name now. Trish Murphy. As Trish Murphy says, people are out there using cannabis as a bit of a coping mechanism. How many of those people are actually being unfairly punished and being treated like criminals? Again, for me, when I was reading this, I just thought that there was a wider conversation that's not being had around these numbers and around this topic. We're always kind of talking about, students and drug use and stuff like that. But when it comes to cannabis and stuff, how many people are actually self-medicating out there and they're being treated as if they've got an addiction? When in fact they don't have an addiction, they actually have a bit of a mental health problem, something underlying there, and the cannabis, or whatever other kind of this drug use they might engage in is actually just a symptom of that. So yeah, I just thought that was interesting to look into that. I was also looking at the numbers there over the years. It's crazy to see the increase in the numbers of people getting done for personal possession of drugs. So there's other psychologists out there who don't agree with the psychiatrists of Ireland's claims that cannabis is the greatest threat to Ireland's young people. And we drive on and we go to the north of Ireland. But before we do, let's have a quick old sip of water and a quick old visit to the hot box. Wow. Rain and Rocks out in the audience. What's happening, Rain and Rocks? Rasher's out there as well. John Phantom. I see Crean on the audience. John Finnegan. Just looking through there, seeing if anybody's atting me. John Phantom says, you all need to get shatter cheap, do shatter for pure THC, and smoke a joint during the day for the entourage effect of all the cannabinoids and terpenes. Yeah, I wouldn't mind if I could get my hands on some cheap ass shatter, but unfortunately, it ain't that common here. Yeah, there you go, Rashers. Lack of mental health services is the biggest threat to young people in Ireland. I wholeheartedly agree with that comment there. The lack of mental health services in Ireland is the only it is the gravest threat to the young people in Ireland, because a lot of the times, to get access to mental health services, you have to come out of the bloody river. You really have to be that extremely on that far gone before you kind of are considered, excuse me, a candidate for mental health treatment in Ireland. It's a fucking appalling. John Phantom says, or John Finnegan's John Phantom says, not easy for us to get it as it is for you in the States, buddy. John Phantom might post us over, so maybe. Catch you later, Ferg. I see Ferg is out there as well. Had to run. See Chilbert in the audience as well. What's happening, Chilbert? John Phantom saying, right now in America, we are stuck between disorganised fractioned liberals and conservatives trying to take away basic human rights. I'd like to see MJ legalised, but that is not the biggest of problems. Yeah, that's the thing. It's certainly not. It's not the biggest of problems, but you know what? It's an easy one to fix. It's one that's been on the table to be fixed for such a long time. It's one now that we while there's other bigger problems out there, it's like, right, look, let's just deal with this. Let's get one win, an easy win, which is cannabis legalization, and then let's deal with the bigger problems, because if we've got less problems to deal with now, the bigger problems seem like less of a burden. So while I do agree with you that there is much bigger problems out there facing society in America and Ireland and elsewhere today, cannabis is one that's an easy fix. It literally is. It's so easy to fix it, but unfortunately the willpower just isn't there. And the benefits that could be achieved really from that quick fix, it's just crazy, It's mad to comprehend what's being held back by this prohibition, the harm that's being done because of this prohibition. So let's drive on then. As I said, the next headline, I mentioned the North, but it's actually the UK. We're over in the UK. There was a garden centre received a funny old complaint after a visit from a customer recently. This is the Urban Garden Centre. So the customer of a garden centre makes complaint about the smelling of staff smoking cannabis and leaves a 1-star review. But the owner was quick to respond and correct the customer. So the garden staff, this is the lady above there. This is the owner, I believe, of Urban. What's it called? Urban Jungle. And yes, it is the owner, and her name is Liz Brown. She says she was horrified when she spotted the Google review slamming her innocent staff for talking on the job and making them look like a drug den. And after racking her brains for what could be the source of the mystery pong at the branch in Norfolk, she soon realised that the exotic-looking perennial called Fritillaria imperialis was the culprit, and it's a yellow plant native to the mountainous regions of Turkey, western Iran, and eastward to Kashmir. And it's famous for its bell-shaped flowers. So here Liz is pictured actually alongside it, but it's not really in full flower here. But here's a much better picture of it in flower. So you see the kind of the bell-shaped flowers they talk about, nice yellow color. But apparently this plant is known for smelling like cannabis. Liz herself says she describes it as smelling like fox. She says foxy is how she describes it. And what she means by foxy is she doesn't know if you've ever walked in the countryside and smelt fox scent. But I have. I know what it smells like. And for me, I always kind of describe it as being a bit like burnt toast. That's kind of what I smell when I smell fox's scent. But yeah, that's kind of what she describes it like. But she also goes to say that everyone is different, though, that people can perceive smells differently as well. But for many people, they are commonly mistaken this plant for being a cannabis plant when they do smell it. So she went on and corrected the customer, who later went on to delete the comment and remove the 1-star review. But yes, Liz was kind of initially taken back by the incident, thinking that, oh no, that this is going to leave a negative mark on her business, a negative view from customers. But soon she was surprised by a great response on her Facebook page when she put up a post over there sharing the complaint. So she put up the complaint, sharing it and just indicating to people that, look, if you do come by and if you do smell this, that, hey, don't go on to Google and make a complaint. Don't be going on leaving 1-star reviews. Go to a manager, make a complaint there, and it actually might be the incident could be resolved and a complaint mightn't actually even be necessary. So when she put up that post, the post kind of went somewhat viral, over 900 shares and likes and stuff like that. And a lot of people left some very supportive comments there for the business, letting them know that, hey, look, we're supportive of you, we'll be down there to support your business. Others trying to be a bit more funny, leaving some funny comments there as well. Just looking at some of them there now. One road, it must have been the same day I was there. There was so pungent, I knew it was the fritillaries, as the smell followed me all the way home, indicating the fact that person actually bought one of the flowers. Another person kind of says, went on to say that, like, oh, the staff wouldn't be into that sort of thing down there, and sure, they'd be busy making the place look beautiful. So a funny one down there. At least the cops weren't called. Imagine the cops were called. Like, imagine the cops came down to do a raid in the place, like, coming down to raid a garden centre because of a complaint that they were growing cannabis in there somewhere. Thank God that didn't happen to them. Although it would have been funny if it did. Barry Field says we'll have to plant loads of those around. Yeah, it's certainly something to consider, alright. At least you have something to point and blame, like, when the smell is pungent. John Phantom says he's pissed he can't grow. Yeah, that's it. At least you can go buy some cheap chatter, though. It's not all bad. What's happening, Fudge? Fudge out in the audience as well, Mr. Francis Fudge. Podge 85 says both my dogs love finding and rolling in both fox, piss and poo. I've that problem as well, Podge. I've got two doggos who love to roll around in fox scat, and oh man, does that stuff stink, like. I have to come home and wash them afterwards. It's not nice at all. I've never had that problem though. John Phantom here says I've smelled fresh super skunk. Or no, yeah, he's actually super skunk. Sorry, I thought you going to say you got sprayed by a skunk. The mass super skunk version, almost so strong it made a sailor want to retch. Nice. Tom Tyler says, I heard a story about that in the past where they thought people were smoking weed in Amsterdam Zoo, but it was the fox's urine. Don't know if it's true though. Yeah, if it was while we were there, we were definitely smoking weed when we were in the zoo. I couldn't help but do it. Like, you're going into the zoo, you're going in for a couple of hours, like, and you're walking around, you just want to kind of light up and enjoy, like, or just have a little talk, like. But obviously you were going to be considerate and do it in an area when there was going to be no kids present and all of that stuff, like. Right, let's drive on as the next headline, guys. It's coming out of Europe, and it's more than half of Europeans support cannabis legalization, according to a report by a London-based consultancy firm called Hanway, and also the cannabis producer Curaleaf International. So Curaleaf International and Hanway done a survey of 9,043 adults. So given the size of the population of the survey, you know, I think the claim that they're attributing that to the population of Europe, I think it's a bit of a far stretch of a claim. But look, nonetheless, that's what happens with surveys. This was a survey carried out with European citizens. It doesn't say what countries the survey was carried out in, but it does say that there was a mix of European citizens involved. 55% of the respondents supported legalization of cannabis. 20% were indifferent, and the remaining 25% were opposed. So the thing to take away from that is like half of people are for legalization, a quarter are against, and the other kind of quarter are kind of, you know, we don't really care. Because there's bigger problems in the world, isn't there? Yes, there is, and this should have been sorted out a long time ago, so we don't really care anymore. But yeah, this they say that more than half of Europe's population support legalization of adult use of cannabis, and around 30% of them are interested in purchasing it. So that's very promising stuff, certainly for these companies who are looking to kind of set themselves up over in Europe, you know, to be able to sell into the market. And it seems like that's very much what these guys are very interested in as well. They're very interested in the German market. So it seems like that's where all eyes are on at the moment, as cannabis legalization is set to happen over there in the not too distant future. And that being a massive market within the European Union. And one of the chief executives of Curaleaf says that there is a clear political desire and willingness in Germany to legalise recreational use, and if this is to happen, then Germany is the largest economy in Europe, and we think it will lead the way and create a domino effect for the rest of the continent. And I agree with that as well. That's the chief executive of Curaleaf, Joe Byrne. So there you go, guys. Apparently over half of Europeans agree with cannabis legalisation. I wouldn't be surprised, you know, if that really was the case, if we were to actually properly, you know, get a good representation of the European population. I would say it would probably fall in that line there somewhere, about 50%. Harry T. Monk says perhaps the 420 community could try another strategy which may get some attention, provide an annual scholarship to law students and police candidates. That would be an interesting one, wouldn't it? Do you want to become a cop, but the pay is not enough? We'll give you an extra $5,000. Coming from the cannabis industry, you know, coming from the 420 community. Yeah, that would look sweet, all right. That's happening though over in the US. There is cannabis companies over there in the US, and they are sponsoring scholarships at colleges. And there's actually going to be some of the 420 news there in a little bit, where they're purchasing, you know, entire labs for colleges as well, which is great to see. Chilbert UK says Solventless is the best in my opinion. Rosin over Shadowbro or BHO, etc., especially hash rosin, the holy grail. Nice. So right, let's drive on, and we got to Chicago then, guys, for the next headline, and it's the cannabis amnesty boxes. I'm not sure if you know what these look like, but I'll pop them up on screen in a second. It's cannabis amnesty boxes are being rarely used to ditch cannabis at Chicago airports, according to the records over there. So here is the amnesty box, if you've not seen what an amnesty box looks like. But this is it. It's a green little box, and you can dump your cannabis into it before you go through the security checkpoint at the airport. Because although cannabis is legal in multiple states over in the US, bringing it between the states is still illegal because of the federal prohibition of cannabis. So given the federal prohibition of cannabis, the airport security just wanted to reduce the potential for problems there, within states where cannabis is legal. And they provided these amnesty boxes for a person who might arrive to security finding that they've forgotten to get rid of their cannabis. But anyway, the records have shown that since the introduction of these lovely little green boxes, that they've only been used about 17 times, I believe it says. I'll actually go to my article there now in a sec. Millions of passengers flown out of Chicago since weed was fully legalized in Illinois, but only a few dozen have pitched their pot in the cannabis amnesty boxes set up in the city's 2 major airports. And that's shortly after the prohibition on recreational pot was lifted at the start of 2020. The social media users had done some jokes online when the boxes first appeared at the TSA checkpoints at the airports. They said, what's it take to get hired as an amnesty box emptier? And that is a good thing, actually. That would be a nice job to go down there and empty those boxes and be like, yeah, there's no weed in the box today, right? Stuff in the pockets. But that job is actually done by the Chicago Police Department, and it hasn't been very demanding though, because only 34 collections have been made from January of 2020 through March of this year, and including 22 at one airport and 12 at the other, a different airport. And according to logs obtained through an open records request, only half of the logs show that cannabis, suspected cannabis or green leafy substance was recovered from the box. The other logs then don't explicitly mention cannabis, but they do show that empty plastic bags were found. I wonder, some lucky cop is just like, no, that smells too nice, but I'm just going to put down that I found an empty plastic bag in this today. It's also saying that it could be possibly people using as trash bins as well. But it's interesting enough. I don't know, would you use them? I would definitely be I'd want to smoke my weed before I fly. And I think that's what most people are probably doing. Like, they're probably just getting blazed before they go into the airport, blazing up whatever they have left just outside of the airport before they go in, and happy days. What they say, don't drink and drive, smoke and fly. And it says, while local authorities have said they aren't arresting passengers caught with cannabis, federal law still prohibits the transportation of cannabis across state lines, and thus the amnesty boxes give travellers an easy way to avoid any trouble. They talk here as well about one incident that occurred on an older box. So before these boxes were introduced, apparently they used to use wooden boxes that were actually made on site at no extra cost to the security services. But what happened was that somebody actually robbed cannabis out of one of the boxes. Some customer, I suppose, of an airline was going through, and he seen his opportunity, stuck his hand in, took some cannabis out, stuffed it in his pocket, and just made away with it. And he never got caught either. Apparently he flew off scot-free. So gas enough. So after that, anyway, they introduced those green boxes, and those green boxes cost $29,000 for 12 of them. Some cost, didn't it? Oh, I just noticed we're rolling up on 420. Where's the 420 right now? 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh. Happy 420. Happy 420 over there in the Azores, Accra, Bamako, Dakar, Casablanca, and Al Aywan. Keita Halloran says, can you tell me what is stopping Ireland from legalising, and who 21 years now and it's still a joke? I have no idea what's keeping them from doing it. Like, there is no proper argument being put forward. our minister in charge of our national drug strategy, claims that the current approach, the prohibition of cannabis, is a health-led approach, but in actual fact, with the death there recently of that 23-year-old law student, Damiola Olanknemi, we're clearly seeing that it's not a health-led approach. So that argument, well thrown out the window now at this stage. So there is no real argument there that's keeping prohibition in place. It's just they're not engaging in the conversation anymore. They won't engage in it. Even like, say, Gino Kenny, the TD who's supposed to be putting forward a bill for cannabis legalisation in Ireland, like, what in the name of God has taken him so long? Like, we're waiting now until June again of this year. Talked about it there a few weeks ago on the 420 News as to him indicating that it's going to be another little bit of a wait until the bill is going to be put out there for cannabis legalisation in Ireland. What's the wait? Why is it taking so long? I really don't understand. And then the people before profit go away and put out a bill that was put forward and voted on already on Irish neutrality. It's like, what? Hang on a second, you're able to do this all within like a couple of weeks, but meanwhile the cannabis legalisation bill, and we're nearly 2 years now waiting for your bill, just waiting for the bill, 2 fucking years. Why is it so complicated? Why was enshrining neutrality in the Irish constitution less complicated than a cannabis legalisation, than ending cannabis prohibition? I really don't understand it. I don't. It was explained to me apparently that there is not cross-party support for cannabis legalisation within the People Before Profit Party, which, bang, that's exactly what I did. I was just facepalm. I was like, you for real? There's not cross-party support for the legalisation of cannabis within the fucking People Before Profit Party? I was like, who are these people who are the naysayers within the party? But really, like, it's crazy. It really annoyed me that they were able to put that bill out there before the cannabis legalisation one. I really don't know what's keeping it from happening here in Ireland. There's no appetite there for it, honestly. Gino Kenny, our champion up there in the dial, he's not hungry for it. He's happy to wait. His tummy's not rumbling. He's not eager at all to see this happening, it seems. Happy to fucking bask in the glory that comes his way, the praise that comes his way on Facebook and stuff like that when he puts up a post about cannabis and a cannabis study. You're doing great work there, Gino, keep the info coming and all this, you're doing a great job. And it's just like, come on, like, doesn't have to be this hard. Tinkle Tink says I would just give it to somebody before I got on the plane, maybe a homeless person or something. There you go, that's a great idea too. Maybe that's what people are doing too. Giving it to some homeless or less fortunate person, or just some lucky duck who just happens to be near him outside the airport. Everybody, do you smoke weed? Here, take that, I'm going away. B Mooney says I've strolled through the body scanners with a couple of G's in the back pocket, got frisked and all, didn't check my pockets. Nice. Right, we're going to weigh this in a couple of minutes, guys. And then we'll pick an old winner out of the audience. Ooh, it's hot. John Phantom, I've been homeless eating at $1 McDonald's. I give homeless $1 when I have it, and I live under $10,000 a year. Good man, John Phantom. Rain and Rocks, I remember a few years ago leaving a chunk of hash on a ledge outside an airport, hoping someone like-minded would find it. That's nice. Hopefully someone did. Digiserve says it's 5:20. Nope, it's 4:20 here. It's always 4:20 here. My watch is stuck. Podge 85 says Ireland will always be a joke. Let's hope not, Podge. Let's hope not, dude. Oh, excuse me. Hiccups. John Phantom says, I joked I was a ghetto Santa Claus with my trash bag of empties going to the corner ghetto liquor store in the mid-1990s in the 18th worst city in the US, Frank's Liquor, South Springfield, Massachusetts. Nice. Cassidy Strogas says, party politics as usual. But it's affecting people's lives. I can't imagine that was an easy thing to do for Gino Kenny to say to Alicia that, possibly she could be waiting up to another 5 years over there in Alicante before she gets to come home, indicating that chronic pain in Ireland is not going to be adequately treated by cannabis until, for another 5 years. Very disheartening. B Money, we have to make it a high priority issue at this stage. That's what I'm saying as well. That's what I'm saying as well. It should, because it's an easy one to fix. Just get it fucking up there high priority, and it can be done and dusted, and then it's no more. It's no longer a problem. Tweet Gino Kenny to get that cannabis bill going. I'd say it's going to need a lot more than tweeting at him. Paj85 says the only priority the government has is how much money they can make. Yep. And what kind of jobs they can line themselves up for once they get out of government. Yeah, Gino doesn't give an F, says Podge, yeah. Rain Rock says, Mr. Start, what you win? Oh, right. Right, seeing as we're a little bit later on in the show, guys, get your guesses in there. I've got like 1 or 2 guesses written down, but just in case, get your guesses in again, and we'll do it for proper this time. I got one more news article that I will go through, and when I get to the other end of it, we'll go through the answers then. So I'm going to pack this up with cannabis here now, okay? So I'll get a little bit closer. So you see that there? That's the bowl of a volcano. Come on, focus, camera. Hide my face. So there you go. That's the bowl. So you know, I reckon it's about the width of a €2 coin. Do I have a €2 coin in my pocket? I don't know. I do. And it is, look, it's the width of a €2 coin. €2 coin fits perfectly in there. And yeah, you would easily fit €2 coins in there. Yeah, you would easily fit 3 €2 coins in there. So get your guesses in there, guys, and I'll start writing down your answers there now in a second. Daglon says 0.9. Hunter 0.9. Oh no, Daglon is 0.4. Hunter is 0.9. Tyrone 0.8. Sean M 0.5. John Finnegan 2 grams. Oh no, that's not John, that's Ferg. Ferg says 2 grams. Martin for the dial, number 1. Nice one, Keith. B Mooney. 0.8. Yeah, Chilbert, the weed is ground up and all. Here's the weed that's about to go into it. You know, it's getting a bit green screened out of it there, like, but there it is. I won't be stuffing it in either. I'll get a nice level scoop, but let's see what happens. Tinkle Tink says Tinkle Tink says 0.8. I'm going to put you down 0.8 because there is no 0.5, unfortunately. So I'll round you down, or yeah, I'll round you down if you want, or up. Let me know, Tinkle Tink. Bogwan says 0.7. Rain and Rocks 1.9. Anybody else? Monsieur 2.5. You're mad. Podge 0.7. Barry Fields 0.42. Chilbert 0.62. Yeah, 0.8 so for Tinkle Tink. Keep your guesses coming in there, guys, and if anybody else wants to get a guess, and we'll do the way up it there in a couple of secs. So here is the scales. Here we go. So let's see what happens. I'm not going to tell you what it weighs, and I'm just going to know the answer for a few minutes now before I tell you, because like I said, I've got one more news article I want to bring to you. The device itself, the little bowl itself, actually weighs 17 grams. 17.1 to be exact. All right, this is well packed as well, like, you know, so it's getting a little tap. Yeah, that's a tap. So she's full now. Yeah. I'm not surprised. So I now know the answer, guys. So the prize is going to be, guys, a lovely sticker and a hand-rolled gift. A nice hand-rolled gift. Bareback says 0.9. So I'll let you, just for the crack, do we? We have one person who's guessed it right so far, guys. Yeah, one person has guessed it right so far. So keep the guesses coming, guys, if you like. Keep guessing away. But one person has guessed it right so far. So let's go. I will let you know who the winner is at the end of the next news piece. And the next news piece isn't a very long one, guys. So so there's only been one person made this guess so far. It might have been guessed earlier, guys, but I never got your guesses down earlier. And Podge, yes, I certainly get you a spare sticker there as well for yourself, buddy. A long time listener like yourself, not a bother at all. So we stick with Chicago for the last headline then today, guys. As I was talking about it there earlier, that cannabis companies over in the US have been sponsoring colleges with scholarships and equipment and stuff. Well, one recent donation in the form of a $600,000 donation allowed a college to open up the first in-state cannabis cultivation lab. So $600,000 was donated by PharmaCann to the Oakton Community College, and this is the first in-state cannabis cultivation college in the US, which is, or at least in Illinois, in Chicago, which is happy fucking days, you know. When you think about this as well, what this basically is representing is a change from the old times when all of the money went into organized crime gangs and our communities benefited in no way at all, you know. Like, when did you have these organized crime gangs donating cannabis cultivation labs to colleges so that students could learn about the cultivation of cannabis, maybe as to explore its medicinal potential, you know, to explore different compounds within the plants, you know, growing the plant in different ways in order to increase different compounds and all of this, you know. There's like real positive outcome here from the regulation of cannabis versus, you know, if you were to go back 20 years ago in Chicago, well, cannabis, all it was doing was funding organized crime gangs. Like, you know, that's a real turnaround. So there's a real celebration there in that as well. And not just the celebration that the students are going to have access to what is going to be a 2,900 square foot lab, which features 3 grow rooms and a technology for controlling temperature and irrigation, and it has lighting throughout the facility as well. It says it's designed to educate students about the grow process of the cannabis plant and the production of different cannabis products. School officials say the lab is the first fully equipped cannabis cultivation facility on a college campus in the state of Illinois. It is incredible to see. Or did I say Chicago? Actually, Illinois. That is Chicago, Illinois. Is Illinois in Chicago? See, I'm not an American now. I'm just questioning myself on that one. Illinois is a state, and Chicago is in the state. Is that what I'm? Chicago. Yeah. See, yeah, never mind. I understood my mistake I made. Chicago is in Illinois. I thought Chicago was the state. Oops. But anyway, we'll continue. I shouldn't have pointed out my mistake. Eon mightn't have even noticed. But it is incredible to see this beautiful new facility operational just a bit more than a year after the donation was announced. And that was a comment from the Oakton president, Joanne Smith. The cannabis industry represents a unique opportunity for students interested in agriculture, science, healthcare, retailing, and nearly everything in between. Whoa, why is that? Whoa, does that mean that like the cannabis plant can be used for a whole heap of things? So it's not just for getting high? Really? It's involved in healthcare? Really? What, in agriculture? Oh my god, and everything in between. Wow. It's almost as if that plant is a panacea for some sort. There's a picture down here. There's a picture of some of the students potting up some of the cannabis plants in there. You can see them standing underneath what look like some nice LED lights. I think they have another picture down below here of the facility. Yeah, here they do. This is a picture of Professor George Hickman, and he's speaking during one of the first tours of the cultivation lab on April 6th. So you can see here from the photo, like it's a really nice setup. They're using LED lights as well. LED lights maximize the efficiency of the energy that's used apparently. And they also decrease the amount of water that gets consumed by the plants because the heat emitted by the lights is minimal. Unlike older traditionally used high intensity discharge bulbs like high pressure sodium and metal halide. So those two bulbs mentioned there would cause an intensity of heat that would cause a drying out in the soil. It would cause a stress in the plant to use more water, and therefore, not be as environmentally friendly as LEDs potentially are. So there you go, guys. If you want to read this article in its entirety, you can go over and find it on Evanston Roundtable. I'm not going to read all of it. It's quite a lengthy old article, but I think it's quite impressive to see the turnaround over there in the US, where once, cannabis was controlled by organised crime gangs and it was contributing nothing to society, and now we see it being contributing in more ways than this as well. You see other dispensaries out there, they're paying for surgeries for patients and stuff like that. There's some incredible stuff going on over there, and all because of ending prohibition over there within certain states. So happy days. Oh, do we get any more guesses in there? Teresa says, do I have to guess again, or is 0.5 still good? I'll get you down there, Teresa. I'll get you down there. I didn't have you down from a while ago. That's my bad. Anybody else from earlier want to get your guess in there? I'm going to fill my bag up. I lied. I was going to give you the answer after the news article, but I'm going to fill the bag up now as well. And then I'll let you know who won. Anybody else? Anybody else want to get a guess in? Got a good few guesses there. Anyway, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 of you have guessed so far, and only 2 of you have got it right. Hi and homegrown, what's happening? What's going on out there, Mackie? Mackie, we're guessing how much cannabis can be contained within the bowl of the volcano chamber. So I was flashing it around on screen. It's currently being used at the moment, so I can't really show you it. But if you want to get in your guess, how much cannabis can be contained in there, to the closest 1 decimal place, 0 point whatever. Closest guess, or no, there's 2 accurate guesses. So we got 2 winners out there so far. One of the winners is going to get a lovely hand-rolled prize and a sticker. The other winner is going to get a sticker. Hey, who says I have a dodgy scales, Mr. Finnegan? I have a perfectly fucking accurate scales, but I even have those little calibration doodle-me-diggies. Got a 5 gram calibrator and a 50 gram calibrator. Oh, Hunter. Actually, yeah, I'd imagine they're above there. Actually, I'll have to go and confirm that there in a minute about those seeds arriving. I still haven't got up there. The mailbox has been emptied, but I wasn't emptied by me. But I do imagine they're up there on the counter. My mum and dad are away in Australia and stuff like that. So yeah, the postman isn't getting the post to me as soon as intended. The suspense. High and homegrown getting in the gas as well. 4.20 grams. All right. Never mind. I thought I had a drum roll. All right. The winner, guys. The winners are the people who guessed 0.5 grams. So half a gram. Exactly half a gram gets contained in one of those bowls. So I managed to do 2 of those bowls over the course of the show. So that would have been a 1 gram of cannabis consumed over the course of a 420 News episode. So we got 2 people out there who got in a correct guess of 0.5. That is Sean and Teresa. So let's do name picker. That's what I was trying to think of. Wheels of random names. Oh, it's showing me my old ones. There we go. I'm just trying to change the names on this wheel. There we go, yes. Sean. Teresa. Well done to the half grammars. Sorry there, guys. I'm just getting the the wheel up there already. Yes, lots of congratulations coming in there as well in the hot box. Nice to see. No sore losers out there. There we go. Yes. Everybody ready? Get her up on screen so you can see. So here we go. It's a 50-50. So let's hope it doesn't land in the middle between the blue and the red. Can we get different colors? Oh. We can add images. In a second now. Martin's World could be the winner. That's good for future purposes. I know I can add images now. Let's go. Click the spin and win. Sean or Teresa, best of luck to both. Boop, 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 boop. Congrats, Sean. And let's see who wins the sticker then. It is. Oh, it's so close. So close. Teresa. So well done to Sean and Teresa there, guys. Both getting incorrect guesses there as to how much cannabis can be contained in the bowl of a volcano chamber. Good stuff, guys. Do me a favor, guys. If you can get on to me either through the Telegram or Facebook or wherever is suitable for yourselves, and get me an address for yourselves, and I will get your prizes out to you pronto. If you happen to be coming down to Cork and if you feel better meeting up in person and you want to have a hand delivered, well, we can do that too. Tinkle tink, the SI unit of smoke in grams per hour. Yeah, I'm currently travelling at 1 gram per hour. Or consuming at 1 gram per hour. Excuse me. Oh. Yeah, Pod says that, geez, that's not bad. And you get to reuse it again for edibles too. Yep, spot on, Pod, you do too. And that's what I have here beside me, shout out to Mackie there. Mackie, I've a lovely high and homegrown mug here. Obviously the green screen effect now is kicking the balls. But inside in here, it's got all my already vaped, but it was just kind of handy. It was just handily there next to me. It was being used actually for storing my pens initially, because my cup cupboard is full, and it's a really cool mug to have up on the desk. Yeah, there you go, no Mackie. Nice one, Bernard. Nice one. Said we just put in a bit of extra effort there for all you beautiful folks out there. Having me coming on here in my hoodie all the time, like, you know what I mean? I have to represent the community. I have to, even though now we're done with the show, I can loosen the tie a bit, can't I? Teresa says, I'll see you in Dublin, love. Not a bother, all, Teresa. I'll make sure I have your price there for you as well. Daily Talker says, did I miss the weighing of the Volcano Bowl? I lost connection. Oh no, Daily Talker. You did indeed. We weighed it there earlier and it came in at 0.5 grams. So half a gram can be stored in the bowl of the volcano chamber. Yeah. What's it actually called? Yeah, volcano chamber? Green tea actually still out there. How's the trimming going? Have you finished? Have you made a dent in it? Green tea was out there doing a bit of trimming earlier today. Talking about how the net was looking fuller, but the pile was not going down at all. That's not a bad complaint at all. If anything, I think if your complaint is that you're spending too long trimming, and that's not much of a complaint at all, really, to have. It must mean that you've a lot of weed on the way. Teresa says, I have a present from Spain for me too. Legend, Teresa. For me, yeah. I only got a gift there not too long ago from Graham's Casa das Drogas. He was back in Cork there for a short visit. But 2 weeks ago, was it, Casa? Yeah, about 2 weeks ago now. But I got a lovely gift. A lovely lemony gift. Really enjoyed it. Also got a great gift of a book there. Do I have a handy? No, it's not nearby. It's a green book anyway as well, so it's no point of flashing her up here. It's going to disappear on the green screen. Podgity Five says, I love that complaint now. Yeah, wouldn't we all? Wouldn't we all? And Sean thinks all, not a bother at all, Sean. And Hunter as well says, I've to head off. Have a great weekend, everyone. I'll have to start saying my goodbyes anyway as well, as I've got a meeting with the Patients for Safe Access guys The Patients for Safe Access are meeting there this evening, as we do every Friday evening, discussing an upcoming conference that's going to be possibly happening in June. Stay tuned for more news on that one. I'll keep you updated as it progresses. But don't forget, guys, that in just under 2 weeks now, in 420 is going to be happening above in Dublin, meeting at the Garden of Remembrance at 2 o'clock on a Wednesday afternoon. Then we're going to be marching from there to the Leinster House, down to the Dáil, where the government are going to be sitting. We're going to engage in a little bit of civil disobedience then up there outside of the Dáil at 4:20, but not before we have some speeches given by speakers up there on the day, including Gino Kenny, Kenny Tynan, Amy Brown, I believe, is going to be a speaker on the Wednesday, and others too. I'm not too sure the others who are confirmed, but I'll find out in due time. But keep in mind, guys, under 2 weeks for that. That's Wednesday, the 20th of April, 2 p.m, Garden of Remembrance, Dublin. Do your best to be there, guys, if you can. I'm going to do my best to be there as well. Then we have the following Saturday. It's going to be Phoenix Park in Dublin again. Civil disobedience protest, guys. Both of these protests, bring your own cannabis. Bring it in whatever form you consume it in, whether it be in a pre-rolled joint, whether it be in your vaporizer, or whether it be in an edible form, a tincture form, or whatever form it is that you like to consume it in. If you don't consume cannabis and you just support the idea of cannabis legalization, and you want to come along because we're just such a fucking really cool community to be part of, because everyone is pretty much really nice. Everyone I met up there anyway was pretty cool. I've never really met too many wankers within the community. None who weren't tainted by alcohol anyway. But yeah. Casa de Struga says, yeah, I was just thinking the green cover wouldn't work. Yeah, I wouldn't either. Nah, just as a pair. Rasher says, can imagine GT sweating in lotus position, surrounded by pile of buds and leafage everywhere. Green tea, hey, what's happening? Green tea's probably got sticky fingers now typing this. Says, hey Martin, going well with the trimming. I finished wet and onto dry. Very nice indeed. Have a nice evening anyway with that, and I hope that the harvest, once it's ready, is a nice one, you know. Yeah, somebody said that as well the other day. Keith Allen said that you look like someone from Pinky Blinders. But somebody actually commented the other day, said that if I was to have one of those hats, what's it called again? Fucking a capine cap. That I'd look more like a Healy Ray than a Peaky Blinder. So I said I take that as a compliment, because at least they're saying I look Irish. Rasher says, please everyone come along and don't forget to like this show. Nice one, Rasher's, legend as always. And Green Tea says, at Rasher's, I've leaf in my hair. It gets everywhere, doesn't it, really? Like, it can be a bit problematic. Socks for me is the most common place I found leaves after being like trimming with my buddy and stuff like that. Because, you know, I take off your shoes before you go into your buddy's gaff, and we would try to trim and keep it all nice and tidy, but sometimes, you know, it just goes everywhere. So yes, guys, that is all of the 420 news anyway for today and for the week. I'll be back with more next week, but until then, I guess, stay blazed, everybody, and keep her lit. Yes, stay blazed out there, guys, and I'll be back Monday, hopefully, guys. So peace, love, happiness, and all that stuff. Have a good weekend. Bye bye.